Welcome to Too Many Thoughts and Too Many Problems podcast. Oh my God, I almost forgot the name of my podcast because I haven't done a podcast for so long. First, I'm going to introduce myself, and he's going to introduce himself because it's been such a long time, and I'm sure if there's going to be new viewers, you're going to click on the title and be like, who are these people? So I just want to make sure people know who they're watching, why they're watching. I've am Will. I've been a teacher in Korea, an English teacher in Korea for now 6 years, upcoming 6 years. I've been living here for quite a bit long time, and this is
Hi, I'm Gab. I'm a student at Korea University. I'm a language student here. It's been 1 year since I've been to Korea.
yeah, a little over a year, right?
Yeah, a little over a
Yeah.
year.
And have you been to Korea previously before studying, or
Yeah, I came here with my family back in 2017 for like a week, just like a short Christmas trip. That time we went to Seoul and Busan, but other
nice,
than that, no, I've never been here.
nice? Okay, so when I first came to Korea, it was my first time visiting Korea and like also living in Korea at the same time. So I never had any previous experience before. So yeah, and today I just want to talk about our personal experiences in Korea. I guess our personal life in Korea, not so much about like um living in Korea. I guess so
Okay.
much, not so much like, oh, what's it like to you know interact with Koreans or go to the club scene with Koreans or like, how to make friends in Korea. Not so much about stuff like that. But kind of just want to reflect a little bit about like, because you've been here for a year
Mm-hmm.
and you're planning to leave soon. And
Yeah.
I've been here for 6 years and I'm also planning to leave soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I just turned 30 recently. So I think it's
Happy
like,
birthday.
yeah. I think it's like a good time to just kind of reflect on our personal selves.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me too. uh, around this time. So that's why I'm hopping back onto the podcast scene. So I just want to start off with like, well, one of my greatest thoughts about spending so much time here is like, what would I be doing if I wasn't here for 6 years? Like,
Yeah.
because my brother just got married recently, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, man, and he's my younger brother too. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, had I been home, would I be married by now too? Would I
Oh.
have, like, he has a house, he has a car. Maybe they're soon to make a baby. I don't know. But, if I was home for 6 years, would I be in that current position in my life?
Right.
Or would I still be kind of like living a bachelor's life sort of deal?
Mm.
So, like, why don't you start off? What do you think?
So for me, I came to Korea right after I graduated university. So I graduated June 2023 and I moved to Korea September of the same year. But I think had I not moved or if I didn't have any plans at all of moving, I would probably still be in the Philippines. I'd probably be working. And um
What would
prob-
you be working as? What do you think?
maybe as a teacher, yeah,
Teacher?
because
Okay.
I've always wanted to teach, and that's still like the big goal. That's still part of the grand scheme, the grand plan. But definitely would be so much more different than how it is now.
Would you be like an English teacher or
Yeah.
Korean teacher? Because I know that's what like you want to pursue right now. That's why you're
Mm,
studying Korean here. But
right.
I don't. Would you still try to be English teacher without coming to Korea
Yeah.
first?
I would definitely probably be an English teacher. I don't think I would be anywhere close to like the level of Korean that I have now. So I don't think that foreign language teaching was like in the wheels, like would have been in my wheelbarrow. So like I studied English literature in university, and so that subject would make the most sense to teach right after college. Yeah.
Then why did you take this opportunity to come to Korea instead?
So I'd initially planned to go to grad school first, but when I was talking to my family about it, they were suggesting that maybe if there is like a way for you to go to Korea without going straight into grad school without having any work experience, then that would be better for you because it would kind of open up more opportunities for you. And especially because I was interested in learning the language, they were like, then maybe why not try a different track? And that's when I came up across this opportunity, which is like full-time student just studying Korean. And I'm really glad that I did it because I don't think that I would have been able to experience a Korean life the way that I do now. Because, in Korea, like, even though you can probably get around with English, it is still much more different to, like,
I mean, you definitely can. My
yeah.
Korean is still not that great, unfortunately. As long as I don't want to admit that, but yeah, Korea still is very English friendly
Yeah, it is. I just think that, like, if I don't think I'd have the confidence to live on my own or, like, to go
without
out.
the Korean like language
Yeah,
knowledge. Okay.
exactly. Because and save for my friends who I do have friends who we have friends who know Korean and they do make our lives so much easier. But like going out in a restaurant, I would be so shy to like talk to a local and be like, can I have bibimbap? So
Just point to the menu,
yeah,
the
like
picture.
this
This
one,
one,
this one,
one.
one.
That's
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. So then you're happy that you've made this move so far, right?
Yeah, I really am. I also I'm glad that my family did give me that advice because I do think that it does open up more doors for me, not only like to pursue further studies, but also it does give me an edge compared to the people back home because not everyone is as lucky as me to have this opportunity to go abroad, study a foreign language, live here, and like come back with like an actual hard skill that like technically speaking, like you can put me anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Especially in the Philippines because I not to stereotype anyone or anything or any culture, but Koreans love going to Philippines. Like
they do.
they love going to like Cebu, they love going
Yeah.
to Boracay.
Yeah.
All like it's because it's like so pretty and so cheap,
Yeah.
And like when you go there, if you're Korean, you'll notice that all like the service people there can speak like some Korean,
Yeah.
and they're all like 안녕하세요,
Yeah.
사장님 안녕하세요. Like okay,
Yeah. And like when I went to Boracay right before coming to Korea, I was so shocked because there were already Korean signs, and I
yeah,
was like, "What?" I had absolutely no idea
yeah,
just how much Koreans you would see, and like I would also hear it
right,
there, and it's like,
right,
"Oh wow!" Like it's
yeah,
really famous for people to
yeah,
go here. I
yeah.
was so shocked.
So you like when you go back home, you'll be pretty set pretty much anywhere, especially in the field that you want to be
Yeah.
in terms of teaching and stuff.
Mm.
That's quite awesome, Yeah. See, I don't know, like I've been here for 6 years and I think about like I go back and forth about whether or not if it's worth
Mm.
if it was worth being here for 6 years. Um and it's I sometimes it's like 50-50. Sometimes it's like 100% it was worth coming here for 6 years, and then other times like damn, maybe I should just stayed home because I
Mm.
missed out on so much of my life back in the States.
Right.
Like I missed out on all my siblings growing up. I would have missed out on my brother getting married if
Mm.
like if it wasn't like for the perfect timing in terms of which he got married, like it was during like our vacation for teaching.
Oh, right.
I missed out on like when I left, my younger sister was only like 6 years old, and now like 6 years later, she's already like double the age.
Mm.
So like that's crazy. I missed out on my younger brother going through high school and then entering into college.
Mm.
You know, I missed out on my like grandparents passing away.
Mm.
The hardest part wasn't so much that my grandparents passed away because I was never like super close with my grandparents. But it was like not being there for my dad when my
Oh.
when my grandma and grandpa passed away. Because I think it was like probably one of the few times that like I've seen my dad cry,
Mm.
and that like really heart broke me. And I was like, dude, what am I doing with myself? Like, what kind of son am I?
Right.
To not be there for my family. What kind of brother am I to not be there for my siblings? But then I go back and forth with like this idea that it's also still just my life.
Yeah.
Like as much as family is important to me, like you also owe yourself to like try to learn and become the person that you are most capable of becoming.
Right. Yeah.
And which is then like I'm like, okay, well, I if I was still back at home, I wouldn't be as, I guess, a well thought
Mm.
person as I am now,
Yeah.
I suppose. So it's kind of a difficult time, like
Yeah.
especially right now hitting my 30s, because I left when I was still in my younger 20s. And now I'm like, dang, I'm supposed to be an adult, but I'm still out here just kind of vibing. And so I think this is also why, like, I've considering this, like, hardcore considering this to be my last year here.
Mm.
Because I'm like, it's not that I'm need to start my life back in the States
Mhm.
in a way. I don't know. I don't know why I never really liked that term of like, oh, I need to start my life. But like, I do need to go back and like continue living my life in the States instead of just
Mm.
living the life here.
Right. I I resonate with that, especially because, being that, like, having that sort of indebted feeling to your
Mm,
family, and
right.
also having that sense of obligation to your family, like, can super resonate with that.
Mm,
And I remember talking to one of my friends about it, and so she's living also here in Korea. She's been here for a couple of years now, and she's super close with their family, like
mm,
loves them, visits them so often, talks to them so regularly. And she was like, I hate it when people say like, you moving away was such a selfish move. And
mm,
it's like, do you not love your family? Like, do you
mm,
not care about them? Is that why you moved? It's like, no, that is the exact opposite. It's,
mm,
despite me moving, like, I will make the effort to show up for them when
mm,
they need me, and I will be there for them if they call, when and if they call.
right.
But you're right, like, at the end of the day, it is my life, and like, you do need to make these choices for yourself. And what is important, at least what I think is important, is that when things do get hard, like, you are um just literally a call away.
Mm.
It's so easy now, like, to FaceTime or
Yeah,
whatever
that
with
is
your
true.
family. And it might not, it's obviously not the same, but it still means just as much. Like, everyone is busy. Like, you're
Mm,
just as busy as anybody else is. And you putting aside that time for your family, despite being so far away, even the time difference in itself
mm,
is much harder for people from the West.
right. That's true. Yeah, I mean, I gotta continue to remind myself about that stuff, especially like in comparison to, like, especially when I'm trying not to compare myself to the other expats or friends and family back at home. And when other expats leave and they go back and they're like, oh, I need to go back and do this and that.
Yeah.
It's something that I need to remind myself that, okay, it's not that I don't care about my family. As a matter of fact, like actually, I think moving kind of made it better.
Yeah.
Like a better relationship with my
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
especially my mom, like, and my dad. Because I mean, as weird as it sounds, like I say that I love my parents and my family. I like did not get along with my parents at all
Mm,
pre moving to Korea,
right.
and I think this distance has like allowed us to, uh, what is it like? Have gratitude for each other,
Mm,
kind of like appreciate each other a little bit
yeah.
more, understand like what it means, and a dad and a son, especially for me, because
Yeah.
before I didn't even really understand what that meant so much because I was so young and like hot headed back then. But now like this distance shows, and with like the death of my grandparents and stuff, it's kind of like, oh, family is like so much more than just, oh, my mom gives me food.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
teaches me how to fix a car or
uh,
something. But so along with that, then what do you think is one of your greatest regrets, either coming to Korea or while spending your time here in Korea would be?
Mm, maybe like I think for a lot of foreigners here, there definitely are opportunities to make friends with locals. Like that is true. And maybe I would have tried a little bit more, but
Mm,
admittedly, after meeting, our volleyball friends and um being comfortable speaking in English and like being able to talk like this, it 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 made me a little, I don't want to say maybe complacent, that like, oh, okay, I'm with
yeah,
people that like I don't really have to think about like, oh, am I saying this right, like
yeah,
are they
yeah, yeah,
understanding what I'm meaning, and just being able to talk at ease with them.
yeah.
And um
It
there
like
are
lessens the burden of living abroad
yeah,
too.
it does, because like
Yeah.
we're all foreigners here,
Mm,
and that does kind of like, oh, you have similar experience to
mm,
that.
mm.
And so maybe I would have tried better to make more local friends,
Yeah.
like more Korean friends, um regardless of whatever language I speak, but like being able to make more local friends, I could have tried harder.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Not that it's like a huge burden or anything, because
Yeah.
again, this is like an amazing opportunity that we
Yeah.
have. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I can experience a little bit of both, still feel like in a safe kind of environment, but then experience something new at the same time.
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
Yeah.
And I get that because like I have a regret of not learning more Korean too.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm like, there's like so much more. You can explore a lot of Korea and Korea life and culture, not knowing the language
Yeah.
too. At the same
Yeah.
time,
Definitely.
not unfortunately, you can't like explore or yeah, like the people as much, but Korea life, like the architect and stuff, you can still do that pretty
Mm.
well without knowing the language. But I think one of what okay, do you have any other?
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Like I think this goes hand in hand with it, but like I also didn't really go outside of Seoul that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of my friends back home were like, "Oh, like you're already there. Like why don't
Mm.
you try moving out?" But it's like for me, this Seoul in itself is already out of my comfort zone. Anywhere else is like that's pushing it. Like
Yeah,
let's not
yeah,
let's not go there. But
yeah,
thankfully, I mean, sometimes like we went to Yangyang
yeah,
together,
yeah,
or
yeah.
sometimes when I play volleyball, I do get to go to like a random part of Korea that I it's not even
Mm.
like a big city, so I didn't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
know was an area. But like I do get to go there sometimes. But really, like there are a lot of tourist destinations that you could go to in Korea,
Right, right.
but I I wish I could have, but
I mean,
not
you still
really.
have some time. You have
Yeah.
like how many months?
A month?
A month?
About a
Oh,
month. About a month left.
yeah. You have like a little bit of
Yeah, a
time. A
little
little
bit
bit
of
of time.
time.
You can extend your visa.
No, I
No.
can't.
Okay. I mean, you can always come back because Philippines is like right there.
Yep. It's not
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I get that, but at the same time, it's like at least when you think about the people in the states, there are so many people who've never left the state, like their
Their
state
state.
either.
Oh.
So, albeit like America's a lot bigger than Korea, but at the same time, it's still kind of the same
Yeah,
mentality,
yeah.
you know. Um, but in Seoul particularly as well, I think there's a lot to explore just within Seoul,
Exactly. Yeah.
especially for just a year,
Yeah.
and especially if you're trying to build community
Yeah.
first for yourself in Seoul,
Yeah.
and you're like being a student as well. And if you're already stepping out of your comfort zone as like a personal self, like going to Seoul or going to Korea itself is already
Yeah.
stepping out of your comfort zone, then it's already a lot to ask for. Um, but I think if that's why I always tell people who come visit Korea too, if they only have like a week, honestly, like
Stay in Seoul.
yeah, you can like stay in Seoul,
Yeah.
maybe go to Busan, but at the same time, like there are better beaches. Like somewhere else,
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you're looking for a good beach, then go to I don't know Philippines
Yeah.
or
Well, I mean,
Not that the beaches in Busan are great, but like if you only have a week and your time is like super limited.
Yeah, there are so much stuff you can only do in Seoul.
Right. And Busan itself is not knocking on the people in Busan, but in terms of experiencing Korea, you can experience a lot of the things in Busan, in Seoul as well, that is not related to like the ports,
Yeah,
not related to
yeah.
the beaches. And again, like if you're only limited on time, there are slightly better beaches that you can visit elsewhere, right? Um, but yeah, I think with my regrets, it's not so much about. Of course, I have like these are like smaller regrets in terms of like not making Korean friends,
Mm,
not learning the language better. But I think one of my biggest regrets of living here for 6 years is like dating so much, having so many
mm,
relationships. And it's like, I talked about this before, and I've had like a girlfriend for every year that I've been here.
mm,
And there's a, I do agree that you need to date to have like understanding of yourself and where you are when it comes to being in a relationship and how to maneuver yourself in a relationship. I,
yeah.
but at the same time, there is also, I think that this idea that it can be too much if you are, which I didn't do, if you're not giving yourself time to develop yourself as an individual
Mm,
outside of relationships, which I don't think I've done enough, and which kind of makes me regret my time in Korea because I feel like I didn't get to experience so much more of Korea because I spent so much of my time kind of in the relationship.
right.
And personally, for the way I operate, I guess, in a relationship, which I'm trying to get better at, but I tend to put too much of my mental focus or mental uh power or
Mm-hmm.
capacity
Yeah.
into the relationship. And when that happens, I don't really have like the social energy or just general energy to do anything
Else
else.
outside.
Yeah, outside of that.
Oh.
And so when that happens, I end up like kind of having the struggle of like, I didn't get to do enough in Korea and develop myself as a
Mm,
person
mm,
in Korea, as an individual, I guess, in Korea. Well, not even in Korea, just develop myself as an individual because I'm spending so much of my time, you know, putting my energy into these relationships. So, and it's not to say that like I wish I never got into these relationships because, um, well, I mean, if you could go back, would you change anything?
uh, maybe like I mean, because I have never been in a relationship like a serious
Okay.
relationship, and so maybe part of me wants to have tried, or like
Well, I
maybe
mean,
I should
like,
have tried hard, or like you
do you think
mean,
you would try to make more friends with Koreans
oh,
instead of making friends with just like foreigners?
uh, yes, but at the same time, I also am so happy with my
Mm,
friends now. Like
mm,
I do wish that I could have definitely gone out of my comfort zone even more than I have, but I
mm,
also do feel like uh have being you're right, like being able to build that community
mm,
in Korea, in a foreign place, wherever that may be, is so important. And I don't think that I would have been able to get through the tough times without having that solid foundation.
mm.
And I feel that like uh it might have just been a lot of like fleeting and um like scattered
Uh-huh.
relationships. I'm not I mean obviously I can't compare what I haven't experienced, but like
Uh-huh.
I feel that if I didn't have the community that I do have now, it wouldn't have been as fun.
Mm,
And like I would rather have gotten to know one place like really well, which was Seoul,
mm-hmm,
or like I would have rather gotten to meet like a solid group of people really well as opposed to just like have too many friends and I'm like
mm-hmm,
I don't really know where I stand with these
mm.
people.
I agree. Yeah, I feel that too. Because like sometimes I go back and I'm like, I'm thinking like, oh, I wish I kind of didn't get into all of these relationships, but then at the same time, all of these like relationships has helped build me at the same time. Even though I didn't get the time to work on myself as an individual outside of it, they like the adversity that I guess that I had to go through in each particular relationship was what allowed me to be kind of like I guess the man that I am now. Cause I definitely wasn't like super, I guess, demure as I am now.
This is demure?
You know?
Oh.
Or okay. I mean, comparatively,
Oh,
comparatively.
okay.
Because I was like a super angry kid before. Like,
Oh.
I had like a pretty much an anger problem. Like, you probably could have thrown me into like a anger management class, to be honest, as a kid, even pre-Korea.
Uh-huh.
And like, I didn't even know how to speak my feelings before. I didn't know how to like process my thoughts, process my feelings. Like, all of this is like very learned, kind of persona that am now able to portray. And I do account this to being into so many relationships, because I think it's due to all of these past people that have allowed me to kind of, or force me to express myself like this in order to have a better kind of like understanding of them and
Right,
me
yeah.
and in the relationship. Otherwise, I think, everything would have been like a terrible shit show. So I am grateful that I've been able to experience so many relationships with so many people in Korea. But then at the same time, I'm like, I missed out so much of just Korea, being in these relationships. So it's kind of a weird like back and forth that I go through as well. But fortunately, I got to meet a lot of good people at the same time, make good community with like you and the volleyball people. That's not just focused on being with like a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think I would have changed anything else. I wish I could have gone back and like change how I like handled some of these adversities.
Yeah.
But then again, that's like the knowledge that I have now.
Yeah. Like in retrospect, you would have acted differently.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think I acted okay.
But I was just probably like yelling out the top of my
Yeah.
lungs, being angry or something. Yeah. But it's so much better now. So I think it's been a good. Yeah. Outside of that, anything else you would want to change about your time here before you leave?
Not really, because like honestly, when I was thinking about the prompts that you gave, I was like, what would I have changed? But I was like, at the end of the day, I do feel that I at least tried, and I feel like I tried to do as much as I could, knowing what I did at the time.
Yeah, and knowing your own capabilities.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
And there are little like small I wish I did this, or I wish this had changed, but at the same time I also take it with a grain of salt, because it's like, had I not gone through something stupid like that, or like
That's true.
yeah, like,
exactly.
you wouldn't be
where
be the
person.
now.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
exactly.
be one stupid thing smarter.
Yeah, you learn. So then, what after this month?
Yeah.
What are some things that you're kind of hoping for your future, or like wanting from your future? Because you're gonna go back to the Philippines,
Yep.
and then what?
Hopefully look for a job. If you're hiring, I don't know if there are any people looking
Anyone
here.
who's watching that's like gonna hire for a Korean teacher.
Yeah, or like
Korean person who can speak English and Korean and Tagalog.
yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
in
Hit
the
me up. Yeah.
Philippines.
But
Or imagine they can hire you in the States.
yeah, I mean that is also like something that I have been struggling with a little bit more recently because
Mm.
it's kind of hitting me that I'm leaving and it's so soon. Like I'm
Right.
leaving
It's
quite
super
soon.
soon.
Yeah,
Like
and
literally a month, or like what's
so
the day you're leaving?
December 9.
December. You buy your flights already?
Yeah, I have a flight already.
Oh my god. So you're not gonna go to experience Christmas with us?
No, that was
Oh.
so like last year was the last time that I could have.
Ah.
Um so I honestly, sad to say, I can't see past December because I feel like this is such a
Mm.
big thing and this is such a big deal to me. Like this is kind of saying
Like being
goodbye.
here.
Yeah,
Oh.
being here, and this is kind of saying goodbye to such an important chapter in my life.
Yeah.
And so anything past December is like, oh, let God. Like
So what is that like? Okay, so what does this important chapter mean to you that like it's so hard for you to see past?
oh,
You know?
cause like back home,
Uh huh.
I had never experienced one, living alone, and two,
Okay.
like basically like being out of my comfort zone as much as Korea put me. So like for context, like I went in the Philippines, my like first grade up until university was the same school.
Okay. Right.
That was the same campus,
Same people.
same pretty much the same people.
Yeah.
Like um new students here and there, but like
Same
generally this
campus from
yeah,
first grade to 12th is wild,
yeah.
actually. Because I
Not
went to
just
three different
three
schools.
different schools. So
Yeah,
like
for elementary, middle, high.
I went elementary, middle, high, university.
Oh, same school?
Yeah,
That's
that's all in the
crazy.
same school, all in the same campus. I never moved. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family's house where I was, like my siblings did move before,
Yeah.
but
But
the
you.
me, I only experienced living in that one house.
Mm,
And so, change doesn't come by to me so easily.
right.
And so, you know, making this big step was such a big deal to me that like even I honestly didn't really process it so much. I remember saying this to my friends. It's like the only time that I will say like, "Oh, I'm actually leaving," is
Mm.
when I had my visa in my hands. Because at that time I was like, so much stuff could happen. Like I don't know. Maybe if
Maybe your
something,
visa gets declined and you
it's
gotta
like,
stay in the
oh, whoopsies. I
Philippines.
guess I have to stay now.
Yeah.
You're
Oh my
forcing
God.
me.
Yeah. It's part of
Yeah,
destiny.
I know.
God said I
Yeah, God
can't
said I can't
go.
leave, and so I won't.
Gotcha.
And so, this is like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
wow. So for my siblings, we all had the opportunity to go abroad at least like for a year. So my
Mm.
brother went to the States and my sister did an exchange program and also studied her masters in the UK. And so for me, like apart from apart from it being a step out of my comfort zone, it was also like I wanted to prove that I could do it too. Cause and for them, they chose to go to English speaking countries, but for me I wanted really like to push the boundaries and be like, this is like, I kind of wanted it to be my thing.
Mm.
Like if we go to like when we went to the Netherlands after my sister did her exchange, like she was the one booking all her tickets, like
Yeah,
walking us all around, like, oh yeah, here, this is where we
yeah.
go with my friends and whatever. And same for my brother, but
Yeah.
like for me, like I wanted my turf.
You want to like, now you can come to Korea, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, this is like where you go. This is where I got
exactly.
drunk, and that's
Yeah, that's
and
where I threw
puke.
up
Yeah.
right there. Like, but like you don't need to know
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was also apart from it, you know, being a big step for me. It was also like proving to other people and maybe myself too
Mm.
that like I could do it too.
So this is like your, what is it, like main character arc?
Oh,
You know.
definitely. This is my villain era.
I got you. Yours was a lot faster than mine. Mine took 6 years.
Yeah.
Bro.
Hey, better late than never. I mean,
Yeah,
better
you're
late than
right. You're
never.
right. Mine's just like bigger. Like mine's like a series. You know,
Yeah.
mine's like Harry Potter's, like the full series. But yours is like, I don't know. What's the
Mine-
shortest shit? I don't read that many books. I don't know.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, mine is like the whole My Hero Academia
Yeah.
arc, and yours is like the Harry Potter. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. Let's
Very
switch it
much
up.
shorter, much
Yeah.
shorter. What about you? Like, what do you think like moving to Korea has meant for you? You know, you because you've been here much longer, and it was also a different experience getting
Yeah.
to work here and living outside of Seoul too.
Right. Right. Yeah. My first 4 years technically
Yeah.
were outside of Seoul. So, and for me, that particularly doesn't really mean too much in that sense. But living in Korea itself is
Yeah.
what is like more important.
Right.
Um, because I think it's the again like the main hero arc for me because I was able to develop so much of myself here. And I've made so many, I guess, relationships in terms of friendships, like business ships.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I call it situationships. Not like in any sexual way or anything, but just like acquaintances, I
Okay.
guess, that I would never have if I had never made the move here.
Right. Right. Right.
You know, like I've traveled to so many different other countries now that I've never imagined I would have done. Because I'm kind of like, I'm not like a super country boy, but I am kind of like my parents and my family in general, we're pretty. We, as of right now, even right now, we live on a farm
Uh-huh.
with like chickens and
Oh.
yeah, my parents grow like vegetables and stuff. We're not like huge farmers or nothing, but we have chickens and stuff, like a coop and everything.
This is news to me, but okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Not okay.
So, and I mean, I grew up most of my life in the suburbs, but we were always kind of, especially my parents, were always kind of pulled towards kind of living in that rural area
Right.
because that's kind of how they grew up. And so by the time I hit my like younger 20s or early teenage or late teenage years, we were already pushing towards that rural area and living out in the farm. And so for me, I and I never like, for example, and I was born and raised in Colorado, so I never had much experience with other Asian culture or other Asianness outside of Hmong people.
Right.
And so I never even tried like sushi until I was like 22 or something. Yeah, like I didn't even know. I didn't even know the difference between like Korean, like as Asian as I am now. So weird. Well, I was like super Hmong, but I wasn't like wasn't aware of other
Asian
culture. Right. So I didn't even know at that time, which was like early 2000s. Okay, guys. All right. So when and TikTok wasn't so big. I didn't even know the difference between like Chinese and Korean at the time.
Okay.
Right. I only knew Chinese and Japanese. Right.
Okay.
And Japanese I knew because I was watching anime at the time. And so coming out here to Korea has literally like opened my mind and like world to the actual world. Like the world's so much bigger than just me being out on the farm with my chickens and holding that little baby chick, and it's like pooping on my hand. I'm like, darn it. So it's like, oh my god, like it's so weird because I went back home to visit my brother and I'm like, yo, this is so weird to see. Well, it's so weird to talk to other people and I'm not judging people in a bad sense, but it's just so weird for me to see people with such a smaller perspective, or like at least a perspective that I used to have on the world and like how they observe life and then how I now observe life. It's kind of like a reflection mostly to be like, oh, this is where I started and this is where I'm now. And I understand so much about, okay, how I can be happy in life, how I can pursue happiness in life seems to feel a lot more free. Is what I think my experience in Korea has meant to me. So it's giving me kind of like this freedom to be able to pursue happiness in a sense for life more freely. Whereas like when I go back and I'm talking to people, it just feels like money is like the only answer to happiness in a sense. But for me, it's like it's not always like that anymore. You know, there's so much more to just this or that for happiness or to be content with life at least. So I think that's what Korea has meant for me. And so I guess if I was to go back home, some expectations when I go back home is I might be like kind of lazy, you know, because I've been like working for 6 years technically, just teaching English, which isn't like anything comparable to like my mom or dad who's been working at the same company for like 20x years.
Oh,
Yeah, but I mean they've been going up the ranks, so like it's understandable.
Yeah.
But like I think I will like kind of take a break.
Yeah, for sure.
And I expect that the first year I go back to the States will be really fast. Just because it would be kind of like a reverse culture shock almost. Like because my first year in Korea was really fast.
Right.
So coming back after 6 years and living in America will be really fast. Especially with either Trump or Kamala.
Oh.
I don't know. Kamala. Oh my god, sorry. Kamala Harris. Yeah. So the first year will be really fast. I will expect a lot of like a little bit of freedom at first from the general like family and mom and dad, but then after maybe like the first 4 or 6 months, they'll probably kind of start pressuring me to do something more.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that by the time I kind of have some time to just settle down, to either one, my volleyball Instagram pops off like a lot more.
Yeah.
That's my hope. To the point where I can like start doing like volleyball things
Right. Yeah.
in Colorado, which and then I can maybe make money off of that plus with Instagram plus with sponsorships and whatever, and then that would be like the most ideal situation for me. But if not, then I think I'll either consider one, opening up a business of some sort that is related to Korea that will pay like my kind of respect to being here in Korea for so long. Or go back to school and like study and then become a professor. Either here or like maybe come back here or professor in the States. But if I was to become a professor here, that would like take another 4 years before I actually come back.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, those are like some of my hopes and wants
Uh-huh.
and my expectations when I go back. It's gonna be a long trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
thinking
just
that
the
far.
start. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just start. I'm not even leaving as soon as you are. I still have like I don't know 5 months.
5
I guess
months, right, yeah.
roughly. Yeah, before I actually leave. But I mean, my contract is ending soon. It ends in like February.
Oh my
Then
God.
yeah, I'll be like hanging around to travel a bit more. Hopefully, get to experience more of the Korea that I didn't get to experience for like a month or so, and then maybe visit some other countries I haven't visited.
Philippines.
I've been to Philippines, but I'll go there
Like,
just
can
for
go
you.
me. Okay.
To see you and everyone else
Yeah.
that I've made friends with there, which is crazy. I've never. People don't expect this when they first like talk to me that I'm like a huge introvert.
Uh-huh.
And I actually hate talking to people most of the time. I hate like just like having any engagement with
Random
most people.
Oh,
Just
most
people.
people. Okay.
Like I don't like engagement, but it's something I've learned to do. So it's so weird to like have so many people I know on my list, you know, that even care about me or even think about me as a either a friend or like an associate, you know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy for me. Yeah, Korea's changed me a lot. Like I think If you were able, if you knew me pre-Korea, I don't think we would be friends for
You
sure.
think so?
Yeah, for sure. Like, who the fuck is this
Yeah,
guy?
this
Why
guy.
is he it's like? I used to have like the hugest RBF too. It's not even like it's not even like a rest. It's like a purposeful RBF, you know, because I was just like angry all the time.
And so you would make that face intentionally
Well,
a little bit.
because of my anger, which just like
Yeah.
stressed it out,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh my God. This
But
news to me. This is
yeah,
news
yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah. So you know, demure. I'm very demure now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
demure. Okay. Oh,
let's not
sorry.
get that
Okay,
far.
whatever.
Let's
Whatever.
not get ahead of ourselves here.
Okay, but it's better than now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than before.
Than
Sorry.
before,
Yeah, it's
right.
better than before. So, yeah, I mean, I also hope to get another tattoo before I leave.
Ooh.
You should get a tattoo
Oh my God,
of.
no. Oh my God, no. Like,
I
no.
thought Korea is important to you. Come
I
on.
love Korea, but that's too permanent for me. That's that's a bit much. No, I cannot. I also cannot with the pain. Like, doesn't
It's
it
not that
hurt?
hurt. It doesn't hurt that much. It's not that painful.
What?
Yeah.
I don't
I
trust
don't
you.
even remember the pain, to be honest.
I don't trust you.
It's like apparently maybe I'm mansplaining or something, but apparently I've heard from other podcasts that when women give birth, it's like crazy painful at the moment, but they have this some sort of like psychological wave that after like a month or so after the birth, they don't remember the pain and they're like ready for another baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's similar to that
Yeah, like tattoo thing, I
experience.
guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll remember Korea. I don't think I'll forget about this in a while.
So then what are you gonna do? What's your highest hope for yourself, I guess, when you go back to Philippines?
So I think like
Disregarding like I guess like logic or like steps
uh-huh,
on how to get there. You
right.
know?
I'm just really scared of regressing. So I feel
Mm,
that part of what Korea did for me was that, I had to learn how to do things on my own.
mm.
Even to the smallest things, like, this is embarrassing to admit, but like, I never did my own laundry. I before coming here, I
I yeah. He's got a maid at
no,
home. He's
I
rich.
mean,
I forgot to say
yeah.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't do a lot of these things yet.
He didn't wipe his butt either.
Yeah,
I was kidding.
we have bidets at home. We wash.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
So like, what I'm really scared of is regressing. I think
Okay.
that is really like
I
a
get
really
that.
deep-seated fear for mine, because I feel like, experiencing something new, it's like you did make that step, but more than that, what's important is that you don't move back from how much you've grown since point A, or like since that first thing. And even from the smallest things, that having to live alone, like, you will have to do the day-to-day things, like doing your grocery shopping or whatever. But um more than that too, it's also like making the decision, bigger life decisions, like choosing, let's say, where to live,
Yeah.
like having to find your own place, or like, what are you going to do next with your life? Like, let's say, are you going to stay in company A, or are you going to move to better company but like risk a different environment, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And hopefully through this experience, like, I don't regress to that like whole sheltered life that
Mm,
I think I did live back home. And also because there living in Korea has made me more has or like the country's, like, even in the public transportation system, like, you're just more free to move around in general.
true.
But like back home, it's like you can move, like, if you do have a car, like, you can move around, but it's not as easy as it is here.
Right.
And so you will probably stick to places that you know,
Mm.
and that you will probably always go to specific areas with certain friends. But like here, it's like you can explore a new place. You've explored new places with me, and like it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I didn't even know this place was in Seoul.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know you could find something like
Yeah.
this. But it's because living in the city, or like the city does have like these amenities that make it easy for you to go to these
Well,
places.
Korea in general has like crazy,
Yeah.
amazing public transportation.
Yeah, exactly. Like even going outside of Seoul, like you could use a public transportation or even like open spaces. Like we don't have that much, at least in Manila. Like we don't have that many like parks that you could just, lay a blanket out and sit, or, you know, um like run around like in Hanggang. Like a lot of people in Manila like go to a specific university just to be able to run because their field is because it's just an open field, but like there aren't that many hotspots in order to do those things. So yeah, I'm just really afraid of like regressing to the like, oh, I don't really want to do that, so I won't.
I get that because I feel like that's the same way with. I've had that thought too for the States, and like when you go back home, you're also kind of back to that origin of
Mm,
who or like where your, I guess, that previous person of
yeah,
you is.
right.
And it's very easy to fall back into that when all the other people or the environment around you hasn't changed so
Yeah,
much,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
And like being here in Korea, it's also so easy, or being anywhere new, regardless of where it is, it's easier to put a new face, right? It's easier
Mm,
to present the whatever you want to present
right. Yes,
because they
yes,
don't know
yes.
you.
Yeah,
No,
exactly,
you have
exactly.
animosity on your side,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas if you go back home and like as much as our new us is us, we go back home, they're like, yo, what?
Yeah, like
That's not
that's not you.
you. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get that. Like, and that's something I am also worried about as well, especially with my parents,
Mm,
because they like, again, going back to the whole anger thing, they were a source of my original like anger problems,
right.
right? So like as much as I am on better terms with them now,
Mm,
there might be some sort of like accidental trigger from them or from someone else or from somewhere else from home, from our origin, that could be like, oh, okay, that's the Gab I know, or that's the
yeah,
Will I
yeah,
know, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it
No,
could be.
exactly. Yeah, like with my dad too, like to a certain degree, like he did spoil us kids growing up, and so like, it would be also like, oh, maybe my dad knows someone, or like maybe he can do it for me, and like having to break from that mindset because
Yeah,
like you can't rely on that kind of thing forever.
yeah. But then like when it's there, it's kind of
It's like,
easy to,
oh,
yeah, like
yeah, it's easy to fall back into that whole
yeah,
pattern again.
yeah.
Exactly.
But hopefully not. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll be okay, especially because you lived by yourself this entire time,
Yeah.
and you've done so much. Like I always see you post like, "Oh, I cook this all myself," and you've made friends on your own. You go out to do things on your own, and same with me. Like I've done so much on my own, so
Yeah.
I think it will be a lot harder to regress than we
Mm-hmm.
think. And I think, um, with kind of like knowing me and knowing you, how like kind of introspective is that
Mm-hmm.
the word for it? Like we are of ourselves. Even if we do regress for a little bit out of it,
Right.
and we also have each other, like we can
Mm-hmm.
always like call each other, can
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I feel like this is happening. Let me just talk to someone from my time in Korea.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think will
yeah.
be very helpful
Right, right.
to then like kind of reset, I guess, and like, oh, refresh. We don't need to stick on this older path that
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to be on,
Right.
right? And continue living not correct, the path that we do want to
Mm-hmm.
live on, which would be great,
Hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. Um, I think we are kind of going on a longer time than I expected. So, are there any like final thoughts or like, mm, yeah, ideas about you can like about Korea or yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you want to like kind of express before you leave?
Yeah. I remember like, so we still use Facebook back home, and
Yeah.
people share stuff on Facebook. And so I remember coming up with this Facebook post like around the time that I left. Yeah, it was maybe like a couple of days into Korea.
Mm,
And then like that quote has kind of been like my mantra
mm,
with throughout my whole time. And I think that, for everyone who might be thinking about taking that big step,
mm.
or I don't know, moving to Korea, uh like it goes something like, oh,
Oh,
that's embarrassing. Oh,
it's okay.
like do it scared.
Do it scared.
Do it scared. So it's
Ah,
like even if you are scared to do that, whatever that is,
yeah, yeah.
like you should do it scared, because I think that one, that that thing is important to you. Like you
Mm,
care enough about it for you to be like worried about how it's going to end up,
right.
but also like there is meaning in being able to do something despite you being scared.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what, like, one of my biggest takeaways from Korea, because we've talked so much about like comfort zone and what like we
Mm-hmm.
were used to
Mm-hmm.
before coming to Korea, and
Mm-hmm.
even after coming to Korea. And so I think for me it's just like, you know what, even if you're scared, just do it, because you will trip, and that's something inevitable, but that will make you a better person at the end of the day. At least that's what I think.
I think so because like if you're worried about something, if you're scared about something, it means that it's important to you,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
you don't want it to mess up, but that also means that it's important to you.
Mm.
But then you have to also understand that like mistakes are gonna happen, accidents
Mm.
are gonna happen, but you have to lean into that,
Yeah.
right? And if it's important to you, then you continue on with that process.
Mm.
I like that. Yeah, that's great. I think something I want to leave off with is that I hope that more people have the opportunity. And if you have the opportunity to travel,
Yeah.
like I think it's so important, especially for Americans. I know it's not as much of a it's not as important to say that to like other people in other countries because
Yeah.
like you guys travel so
Mm.
early,
Yeah.
but like according to at least statistics, most Americans don't really leave their state at all, right? So like even
Oh.
just traveling within the state is already a lot of effort.
Right.
So if you can travel to a different country, I think I would recommend that for any given amount of time that you can.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I would definitely 100% recommend that because then you'll just see like so much more of like the world.
Uh-huh.
Like you can see on picture, but it's so different just being there, and experiencing that culture or that society for yourself
Yeah.
is like um very eye-opening. Like
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like one step, it's like the first step to kind of getting out of the what's that like word, getting out of like the matrix or whatever.
Oh.
Because like I feel like people are just so sucked into their, especially nowadays, like they're just so sucked into their phone
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff that they're just kind of zooming in on like, okay, this is life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then like life is like if you stepped out of your zone, especially like your country, and experience life outside of anywhere else, you'll understand or you'll get to have this glimpse of like, oh, life is like a lot more than just whatever I'm doing right now,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And speaking and learning from other people and meeting other people and learning how they live and how they experience life is like also very helpful to understand like where you want to be in your
Mm.
life.
Yeah.
um and then along with like traveling, if you do travel, trust your gut instincts, I think.
Mm.
um that's kind of like not kind of weird, I guess, like a weird way to leave off, but I think it's very important to trust your gut instinct when you travel, um because living alone, being out anywhere alone is can be very um dangerous and can be very potentially detrimental to your own mental health.
Yeah.
So you want to trust your gut feeling when it comes to people. whether or not it's, you know, to go to that bar with them, or whether or not it's to actually continue a friendship with them,
Yeah.
or even to make a friendship with them, whether or not like to even interact with them at all or stuff like that. I think it's very important to trust your gut feeling when you're living by yourself and you have no one else to support you.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first, physically and mentally, you know.
That gut feeling wouldn't be there if like there wasn't anything to be worried about in the
Right,
first place.
exactly. And like I can tell you that the times I didn't trust my gut feeling, I definitely regretted it. Fortunately, I am like not harmed in any like physical
Yeah.
way, but like mentally, you know, it was not worth going down that road.
Mhm.
You know, it's trust your gut feeling about people. Other than that, I don't know. I think we've been way over an hour. I'm 30 now. You're 20, what, 4?
23
23, turning 24 when?
next year.
Next year,
Yeah. You wish. You wish so bad.
What do you mean? I'm an unk now,
Yeah.
apparently. I'm super old. And this is too many thoughts, too many problems. I haven't done one of these in forever. I don't know if I'll get you back on here anytime soon.
Who knows?
Okay, next week. Let's
Yeah,
go. Just kidding. Thank you so much for hopping on to my podcast. I hope it's a good podcast. How did
Yeah.
you feel about it?
Thank you so much for having me. This is
Yeah.
so fun. You know, like don't get so much time. You know, it's different from thinking about all of these things
Right.
from like actually verbally,
Yeah.
you know, talking about it and processing it in the moment. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a very different experience. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me.
of course. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I apologize if I was too lost in thought sometimes because I haven't done this in a while. I'm not a great speaker in general. Okay, I'm a learned speaker. And if you guys enjoyed this or enjoy Gap, you can follow his Instagram. Do you want me to leave your socials?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave his socials on the description below. You can meet him up in Philippines, in Manila. If you ever go to Manila, he will be there. And if you ever come to Colorado, don't talk to him.
Turn the other way.
Yeah, but you can also follow my volleyball page. I post a lot more content there nowadays. I do hope to continue doing this. It's not that I don't want to do this. I just haven't really found the social energy to do this all the time. It does require, as some like doing a podcast requires a lot more like mental energy than you would think.
Yeah.
And so as much as I want to do this, I just haven't had the mental energy for this. And so I'm glad I've got to do this with you, especially because I enjoy talking to you. So thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this so much.
You guys like it? Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. Bye.